The morning sun cast long shadows across the memorial garden. Doohan walked slowly between the rows of white stone markers, his tall alien frame moving with grace despite his age. His silver skin reflected the early light as he made his daily visit to his daughter's tomb. 3 years had passed since Hyun's death, but the pain felt as fresh as yesterday. Doohan adjusted his formal business suit and carried a fresh bouquet of blue flowers, Hyun's favorites from their home planet. As he turned the corner to Hyun's memorial, he stopped suddenly, his guards tensed behind him, hands moving to their weapons. There, curled up beside his daughter's tomb, lay a human girl. She looked young, maybe 16 or 17, about the same age Hyun had been. Her dark hair spread across the white stone as she slept peacefully. She wore simple clothes, worn jeans, and an old jacket that had seen better days. "Should we remove her, sir?" asked one of the guards, reaching forward. Doohan held up his hand. Wait. Something about the girl's face caught his attention. She looked so peaceful, so at home here. It reminded him of how Hyun used to fall asleep in the garden. The girl stirred, perhaps sensing their presence. Her eyes opened slowly, then went wide with surprise as she saw the tall alien figures standing over her. She scrambled to sit up, pressing her back against the tomb. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to," she started, then stopped as she looked at Doohan's face. Instead of fear, her expression showed something else, recognition. "What is your name?" Doohan asked, his translator making his words clear in human language. "Myray," she answered softly. "I'm sorry for sleeping here. I felt like I needed to be here." Doohan's security chief stepped forward. "Sir, humans aren't allowed in the private memorial garden. We should call the authorities." But Doohan couldn't take his eyes off the girl. There was something familiar about her, something he couldn't explain. "How did you get past the security barriers?" Myray looked confused. I'm not sure. I've been having these dreams. A girl with silver skin kept showing me the way here. I know it sounds crazy, but..." She hugged her knees to her chest. "I've been coming here for months. Something about this place feels like home." Doohan's heart stopped for a moment. He had never told anyone, but in the weeks after Hyun's death, she had appeared in his dreams too. His rational mind had dismissed it as grief. But now, "Sir," the security chief insisted, "the board meeting starts in 30 minutes. Doohan made a decision that would change everything. Cancel it." "But sir..." "Cancel all my meetings today." He looked at Myray, who seemed surprised by his interest. "Young lady, would you join me for breakfast? I think we have much to discuss." Myray stood slowly, brushing dirt from her clothes. "Why aren't you angry? Most people chase me away." Doohan smiled sadly. "Because today is Hyun's birthday, and I believe she may have led you here for a reason." As they walked toward his mansion, Doohan noticed something extraordinary. Mayray's steps matched his daughter's favorite path through the garden perfectly, even though she had never been here before. She stopped to admire the blue flowers he carried, just as Hyun always had. The security team followed at a distance, clearly unhappy with their boss's decision. But Doohan didn't care. For the first time in 3 years, he felt something he had thought was lost forever: hope. The breakfast room in Doohan's mansion was bigger than Mayray's entire apartment. She sat nervously at the large table, looking at the strange alien food in front of her. Doohan had asked the kitchen to prepare human breakfast items instead, but she barely touched them. "These dreams you mentioned," Doohan said, watching her carefully. "When did they start?" Myray wrapped her hands around a warm cup of coffee. "About 6 months ago. In the dreams, this girl with silver skin would take my hand and lead me places. She never spoke, but she smiled a lot." Myray paused. "She led me to your garden 5 times before I actually found my way here in real life." Doohan pulled out a small device and placed it on the table. A hologram appeared, showing a young alien girl with silvery skin and a bright smile. Myra's coffee cup clattered against its saucer. That's her. That's the girl from my dreams. Myra stared at the image. Who is she? My daughter, Haeyun. Du-Han's voice was soft. She died 3 years ago in a shuttle accident. Myra's face went pale. I'm sorry. I didn't know. She looked down at her hands. Maybe I should go. This must be painful for you. Please stay, Du-Han said. There's something else I need to check. He pressed a button, and a medical robot rolled into the room. Would you allow us to take a small blood sample? I promise it won't hurt. Myra hesitated, but nodded. The robot gently pressed a device against her arm. Within seconds, it beeped and displayed results on its screen. Du-Han's eyes widened. Impossible, he whispered. What's wrong? Myra asked. You carry the same genetic marker as Haeyun, the Starlight sequence. It's extremely rare, even among our people. It's never been seen in humans before. Du-Han stood up and began pacing. When were you born, Myra? April 15th, 2009, she answered. Du-Han stopped pacing. The exact day, Haeyun died. He turned to face her. The dreams, the genetic marker, the date. This can't be coincidence. Myra pushed her chair back. You're scaring me. What does all this mean? Before Du-Han could answer, his security chief burst into the room. Sir, we have a problem. Someone leaked information about the human girl to the media. There are reporters gathering at the gates. Du-Han made another quick decision. Myra, I know this is strange, but I don't think you'll be safe out there right now. Would you consider staying here while we figure this out? Stay here. Myra looked around the massive room. I can't. My foster parents will worry. We can contact them, Du-Han assured her. Please, I think Haeyun led you here for a reason. Something is connecting you two, and we need to understand what it is. Myra thought about her tiny apartment, her struggling foster family, and the dreams that had haunted her for months. She thought about the alien girl's smile in the hologram, a smile she knew as well as her own. Okay, she said finally. I'll stay. Du-Han nodded to his security chief. Prepare the guest room in Haeyun's wing. And call Ji-won. Tell her to bring all her research on consciousness mapping. As Myra followed a servant out of the room, she stopped and turned back. Du-Han, in my dreams, Haeyun wasn't just showing me places. She was showing me memories. Your memories. The time you took her to see the star gardens on your home world. The day you gave her that blue crystal necklace. She touched her throat. The necklace that was never found after the accident. Du-Han stared at her in shock. He had never told anyone about those private moments with his daughter. As Myra left the room, he pulled out his communicator. Ji-won, drop everything. I think we found something impossible. Ji-won's laboratory hummed with energy as machines analyzed Myra's blood samples. The alien scientist moved quickly between screens, her silver fingers dancing across holographic displays. Du-Han watched from behind a safety barrier, his face tense with worry. These readings are unlike anything I've seen before, Ji-won said, adjusting her instruments. The human girl's DNA shows clear signs of modification, but not by any method we know. In another room, Myra lay in a scanning chamber. The gentle blue light moved over her body as she tried to stay still. Strange dreams filled her mind. Memories that weren't her own kept floating to the surface. Sir, Ji-won called Du-Han over. Look at this pattern. It matches Haeyun's neural signature perfectly. That should be impossible. Du-Han leaned closer to the screen. Could someone have done this deliberately? No, Ji-won shook her head. This isn't artificial. It's as if Haeyun's consciousness naturally found its way to this girl. The scanning chamber beeped, and Myra sat up slowly. I saw more memories while I was in there, she said. I saw the accident, The shuttle was sabotage, wasn't it? Duhan's face went pale. How did you know that? That information was classified. Because Hao Yun knew, Mai Rui replied simply. She tried to warn the pilot, but it was too late. She hugged herself, shivering. I can feel her emotions sometimes. She was so scared. Jaiwan typed rapidly on her console. Sir, I found something in the old research files. Project Starlight. It was shut down 5 years ago. They were working on consciousness transfer technology. I remember, Duhan said. They claimed they could save dying children by preserving their minds. The project failed. Did it? Jaiwan pulled up more files. Or did it work in a way nobody expected? He-Yun had the Starlight sequence. The project was named after that genetic marker. What if it wasn't just a coincidence? Myra walked over to them, looking at the screens. These symbols. She pointed to some alien text. I can read them. How can I read your language? Because He-Yun could, Duhan whispered. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the lab. Jaiwan's screens flashed red. Someone's trying to hack our systems. They're after the test results. Duhan's security team rushed in. Sir, we traced the hack. It's coming from Ta-Hyun's corporation. Delete everything, Duhan ordered. Now. Jaiwan's fingers flew across the controls, erasing files. But before the last data could be wiped, one screen showed a successful download notification. They got something, Jaiwan said grimly. Not everything, but enough to know Mireille is special. Mireille looked scared. What does this mean? Who's Ta-Hyun? Someone who would do anything for power, Duhan said. And now he knows about you. He turned to his security chief. Double the guards. No one enters or leaves without my direct approval. There's more, Jaiwan said quietly. The neural scans show the integration is increasing. Mireille isn't just receiving He-Yun's memories anymore. Their consciousness patterns are starting to merge. Mireille touched her head. Is that why I keep switching between languages without realizing it? Why I suddenly know how to solve quantum equations? Duhan took her hand. We'll figure this out. I promise. He looked at Jaiwan. How long do we have? Before the merger is complete. A week, maybe less. Jaiwan looked troubled. After that, we don't know who she'll be. Mireille, He-Yun, or someone entirely new. Outside the lab's windows, the sun was setting. In the growing darkness, security lights activated around the compound. Somewhere in the city, Ta-Hyun was already plotting his next move. And inside Mireille's mind, two souls continued their gradual dance toward becoming one. Mireille sat in He-Yun's old room, looking at the strange alien objects around her. Her fingers traced the spine of a book written in alien script, a book she could now read perfectly. Outside, the morning sun painted the garden in soft colors. A knock at the door made her look up. Duhan entered, carrying an old data crystal. His face looked tired, as if he hadn't slept. We found something in the deep archives, he said, placing the crystal into a reader. Project Starlight wasn't just about saving dying children. They were trying to preserve our species. A hologram filled the room, showing rows of sleeping alien children. Among them was He-Yun, looking younger and more fragile. Our birth rates were falling, Duhan continued. The project leaders thought if they could save consciousness, they could save our future. He-Yun volunteered for the early tests. Mireille watched the scenes change. She was sick, wasn't she? Even before the accident. Duhan nodded. A rare genetic disease. The doctors gave her 2 years to live. That's why I agreed to the experiments. His voice broke. I thought I was helping her. New images appeared. Brain scans, data streams, and complex machines. They mapped her consciousness every week for a year, but nothing worked. The transfers failed every time. Until the accident, Mireille whispered. Yes. Duhan pulled up more files. The shuttle explosion created a quantum surge. At that exact moment, Yun's consciousness map was in the system. The surge sent it. Somewhere. Into me. Ray said. I was born at that exact moment. Jai-Won burst into the room, holding a tablet. Sir, I found Dr. Yoon's private logs. The project didn't fail. They succeeded once before. But the human host. She stopped, looking at Ray. What happened to them? Ray asked. Their mind couldn't handle the alien consciousness. Jai-Won couldn't finish. Ray stood up suddenly. That's why I keep getting headaches. Why sometimes I can't remember if I'm Ray or Yun. Her hands shook. Am I going to die? No, Du-han said firmly. You're different. The starlight sequence in your DNA. It's protecting you. Somehow, you were born ready for this. Another alarm blared through the mansion. The security chief's voice came over the intercom. Sir, government agents are at the gate, both human and alien. They're demanding to see Ray. They know, Jai-Won said. Ta-hyun must have leaked the data. Du-han moved quickly to the window. More vehicles were arriving. Black cars and hovering alien transports. News drones buzzed overhead. They'll want to study her, Jai-Won warned. Both sides will claim jurisdiction. Ray touched her temples, wincing. In her mind, Yun's memories swirled with her own. She saw the project labs, felt the fear of dying young, remembered the hope of a second chance. I won't let them take you, Du-han promised. But we need to understand what's happening to you. The merger is accelerating. Ray looked at her reflection in the window. For a moment, she saw Yun's face overlaid with her own. I'm not just carrying her memories anymore, she said. I'm becoming something new, something that's both of us and neither of us. Outside, the agents began to move through the garden. Time was running out. Ray lay in the medical pod as Jai-Won ran more scans. Her head felt like it was splitting apart. Memories crashed together like waves. Her first day of school mixing with Yun's memories of alien classrooms. Two lives trying to become one. The merger is happening faster than we expected, Jai-Won said, looking at the readings. Her brain waves are changing every minute. Du-han paced the room, watching his security feeds. The government agents were still waiting outside. How much time do we have? Hours, maybe less. Jai-Won adjusted something on the pod. The question is, who will she be when it's done? Ray suddenly sat up straight in the pod, her eyes wide. When she spoke, her voice sounded different. Father, remember when you taught me to pilot the family shuttle? You let me fly through the rings of our home world. Du-han froze. Only Yun had been there that day. No records existed of that private moment. Yun, he whispered. Ray blinked, looking confused. I'm both. I remember being Ray, growing up on Earth. But I also remember being Yun. The memories aren't fighting anymore. They're joining. Jai-Won's machines started beeping rapidly. The neural patterns are stabilizing. It's like they were always meant to fit together. Ray stood up from the pod. Her movements were different now. A mix of human grace and alien precision. She walked to a nearby mirror and touched her face. The consciousness transfer didn't fail, she said softly. It worked exactly as planned. But instead of transferring into an existing mind, Yun's consciousness helped create a new one. Me. The starlight sequence, Jai-Won said excitedly. It wasn't just a random genetic marker. It was a template, a bridge between species. Du-han approached Ray carefully. Do you remember everything now? She turned to him, tears in her eyes. I remember dying in the shuttle. I remember being born as Ray. I remember you reading stories to Yun, and I remember my foster mother singing me to sleep. She reached for his hand. I'm your daughter, but I'm also myself. I'm both of them, made into someone new. Suddenly, the mansion's lights flickered. Security alarms blared. Sir, The security chief's voice came through the intercom. Ta-Hien's men are trying to breach the east wall. Meirei's face hardened. He was behind the shuttle accident. I remember now. He wanted the project to fail. He was afraid of what would happen if we could transfer consciousness between species. Du-Han looked at the security feeds showing government agents at the front gate and Ta-Hien's men at the back. We're trapped. No, Meirei said, her voice strong. We're exactly where we need to be. She walked to the lab's main computer. Her fingers flew over the controls, typing in alien script. He-Yun knew quantum mechanics. Meirei knows human computer systems. Together. The screens lit up with data, proof of Ta-Hien's sabotage, records of the project's true success, and evidence of his current illegal actions. I'm not just a combination of memories, she said, standing tall. I'm proof that humans and aliens can be more together than they ever were apart. Outside, sirens wailed as more vehicles approached. The final confrontation was coming. Ta-Hien stood in the mansion's garden, surrounded by his private security team. His silver skin gleamed in the afternoon sun as he faced the main building. Behind him, government vehicles blocked every exit. Du-Han. He called out through a voice amplifier. Send out the human girl. She's too dangerous to be left free. Inside the mansion's secure room, Meirei watched the scene through security cameras. Du-Han stood beside her, his face grim. He's afraid, Meirei said. Not of me, but of what I represent. The project worked too well. Jai-Wan burst into the room with fresh data. The human authorities are divided. Some want to protect Meirei as a citizen. Others want to study her. And the Alien Council? Du-Han asked. They're even more split. Half see her as a miracle, half as a threat to pure bloodlines. Jai-Wan looked worried. Ta-Hien is playing both sides. On the screens, more reporters arrived. News drones buzzed overhead, broadcasting everything live across both human and alien networks. Sir, the security chief called through the intercom. Ta-Hien's men are setting up neural disruptors. They'll try to separate the consciousnesses by force. Meirei touched her head. They can't. He-Yun and I aren't two minds anymore. We're one person now. A loud explosion shook the building. On the screens, they saw Ta-Hien's men breaking through the east wall. At the same time, government agents started moving in from the front. Du-Han, Ta-Hien's voice boomed again. Think about what you're protecting. She's not your daughter. She's not even fully human anymore. Meirei stood up straight. He's right about one thing. I'm not just He-Yun, and I'm not just Meirei. I'm something new. She turned to Du-Han, and that's what scares him the most. Another explosion rocked the mansion. Smoke filled the lower halls as Ta-Hien's men pushed forward. The neural disruptors are ready, Ta-Hien announced. One blast, and we'll see what's really inside that human brain. Du-Han grabbed Meirei's arm. We need to get you out of here. No. Meirei pulled away. Running will only prove them right. I need to show everyone what I really am. She walked to Jai-Wan's computer and began typing rapidly, mixing human and alien coding styles in a way never seen before. Screens lit up around her. What are you doing? Jai-Wan asked, amazed. Accessing every broadcast network, human and alien. Meirei's fingers flew across the controls. They want to know what I am. I'll show them. The mansion's defenses started to fail. They could hear boots in the hallway outside. Whatever you're planning, Du-Han said, do it fast. Meirei hit the final key just as the door burst open. Ta-Hien himself stood there, holding a neural disruptor. But Meirei was already glowing with a strange light, and every screen in both worlds was about to show her truth. The strange light surrounding Meirei filled the room. Every screen in the mansion showed her face, broadcasting live to billions of humans and aliens across both worlds. Ta-Hien aimed his neural disruptor. Stop this broadcast now. No, Meirei said calmly. Everyone needs to see the truth. She looked directly into the nearest camera. My name is Mirai. I am also Hyun. I am both, and I am neither. The light around her pulsed with her words. Through the neural link she had created, viewers could feel what she felt, the perfect blend of two souls into one new being. The Project Starlight didn't fail, she continued. It succeeded in the most unexpected way. I am not a human carrying an alien mind, or an alien consciousness trapped in a human body. I am something new, something that proves our species can do more than just live side by side. Doohan watched in amazement as his daughter, both his daughters, showed her true self to the universe. Through the broadcast, Mirai shared her memories. Everyone watching felt Hyun's love for quantum physics mixing with Mirai's passion for Earth music. They felt how the two sets of memories had merged into a deeper understanding of both worlds. You're making a mistake, Taehyun warned. Some things should stay separate. Mirai turned to face him. Is that what you believed when you sabotaged the shuttle? When you tried to kill Hyun to stop the project? The neural link carried her memories of the accident to every viewer. They saw through Hyun's eyes as the shuttle's systems failed. They felt her fear, and then her determination to save the pilot. Taehyun's hands shook. The project was dangerous. It would have destroyed everything we built. Our pure bloodlines. Pure. Mirai laughed softly. Look at what we can become together. She raised her hands, and the light around her grew brighter. Through the neural link, everyone felt the moment of her awakening, the beautiful joining of two souls into something greater. Government agents rushed into the room, both human and alien. But they stopped, transfixed by what they felt through the broadcast. I have a choice to make, Mirai said to the cameras. I could try to separate what I am, live as only human or only alien, or I can be what I truly am, proof that we can evolve together. She walked toward Taehyun, who still held the neural disruptor. You have a choice too. Shoot me, and show everyone that fear is stronger than hope. Or lower your weapon, and help me build a future where we don't have to choose between worlds. The light pulsed one final time, sharing her complete self with the universe. In that moment, every viewer understood what she truly was, not a mistake or an experiment, but a glimpse of what they could all become. Taehyun's hands trembled on the weapon as billions watched and waited for his choice. Taehyun's finger tightened on the neural disruptor's trigger. The whole universe seemed to hold its breath as they watched through Mirai's broadcast. Don't do this, Doohan stepped forward. You'll destroy everything we've worked for. I'm saving everything we've worked for. Taehyun shouted, but his hands were shaking. Through the neural link, he could feel what everyone else felt, the beautiful truth of what Mirai had become. Suddenly, more of Taehyun's men burst in through the door. Sir, we've planted the charges. The whole building is rigged to explode. Mirai's eyes widened. You'd kill everyone here just to keep your secret. Better than letting you expose us, Taehyun said. He pulled out a detonator with his free hand. The shuttle accident wasn't the only one I arranged. There were other experiments, other children. Doohan's face filled with rage. How many? How many children did you kill? As many as it took to keep our bloodlines pure. Taehyun's mask of control finally cracked. Through the neural link, everyone felt his fear, his desperate need to keep the world separate. Mirai looked at the cameras still broadcasting. You hear that? You feel it? This is what fear does. It makes us destroy beautiful things just because they're different. The government agents in the room had their weapons drawn, but nobody knew who to point them at. The neural link was affecting everyone, making them feel the truth of both sides. I'll give you one chance, Taehyun said. Turn off the broadcast. Come with me for proper separation, or I'll blow this whole place up and blame it on a failed experiment. Mirai straightened her back. Through the neural link, she let everyone feel her decision as she made it. No, I won't let you hurt anyone else. She stepped forward, putting herself between Taehyun and everyone else in the room. The light around her grew brighter. "What are you doing?" Doohan asked, worried. "The only thing I can do," Mayray smiled sadly. "I'm going to show everyone the full truth, no matter the cost." She raised her hands, and the neural link grew stronger. Now everyone could feel not just her memories, but Taihen's as well. All his secrets, all his crimes, poured out through the link. "Stop!" Taihen screamed. He fired the neural disruptor. The beam hit Mayray directly, but instead of separating her consciousness, it reflected off the light around her. The energy bounced back, amplified by her broadcast, touching every mind watching. For one brilliant moment, everyone, human and alien alike, felt what it was like to be truly unified. They felt the potential that Mayray represented. Taihen staggered under the weight of billions of minds touching his. The detonator fell from his hand. Doohan dove forward and caught it before it could hit the ground. Security teams, move in. The government agents finally picked their side. They swarmed Taihen and his men, taking them into custody. But Mayray was swaying on her feet. The effort of maintaining the enhanced broadcast had taken its toll. "The neural link. It's too much," she gasped. Doohan caught her as she fell. "What did you do?" "What I had to," she whispered. "They needed to feel the truth. All of it. Even if it means—" Her voice faded as her eyes closed. The light around her dimmed as she lay unconscious in her father's arms. But the change she had started could not be stopped. Across two worlds, people began to understand what they could become together. 1 month later, Mayray stood in front of the rebuilt memorial garden. The morning sun made her skin glow as she placed fresh blue flowers on Heiyun's tomb. Behind her, Doohan watched with pride. The past month had changed everything. After Mayray's broadcast, both human and alien societies had to face a new reality. The courts had sentenced Taihen to life imprisonment for his crimes. Project Starlight's true results were now public knowledge. "The first new transfer volunteer starts next week," Doohan said, walking up beside her. "They're calling it the Mayray Protocol now." Mayray smiled. "How many signed up?" "Thousands from both worlds. But we're being careful this time, making sure each consciousness transfer happens naturally, like yours did." He touched the tomb's smooth stone. "Heiyun would be proud of what you've become, of what you've helped create." "She is proud," Mayray said softly. "I can still feel her, you know. Not as a separate person anymore, but as part of who I am." Jai-1 appeared at the garden entrance. "They're ready for you at the Unity Council." The newly formed Unity Council had replaced the old separate governments for issues affecting both species. Mayray, as the first successful blend of both worlds, had been asked to help guide the integration process. They walked together through the garden to where a shuttle waited. News drones hovered nearby. Mayray was still big news, but now the stories were about hope, not fear. "Your foster parents called," Doohan said as they boarded. "They're excited about moving into their new house next to the mansion." Mayray beamed. "Two families, just like I have two worlds inside me. It feels right." The shuttle lifted off, giving them a view of the city below. Humans and aliens walked the streets together more freely now. Research centers were working on new projects combining both species' knowledge. The medical teams say the next generation might be able to share consciousness naturally, Jai-1 reported, checking her tablet. "Your DNA is showing us how." Mayray looked out at the horizon, where the sun touched both earth and sky. "I used to feel torn between two worlds. Now I know I was just the first step toward bringing them together." The shuttle passed over a new building, a school where human and alien children would learn together. Mayray was scheduled to teach there part-time, sharing her unique perspective. "There will still be people who resist," Doohan warned. "Change isn't easy." "No," Mayray agreed, "but it's necessary." Heiyun knew that. That's why she held on, why she found me. She saw what we could become. The shuttle landed at the Unity Council headquarters. Representatives from both worlds waited to greet them. Some still looked uncertain about the changes, but most smiled warmly at Mayray. "Ready?" Doohan asked as they prepared to exit. Mayray straightened her clothes, a unique style that blended both human and alien fashion. "I've been ready since the day Hei-Yun first appeared in my dreams. This is what I was born for." She stepped out into the sunlight, no longer afraid of who and what she was. Behind her, the morning rays caught the blue crystal necklace she wore. Hei-Yun's necklace, found at last, just like its owner. In her mind, Mayray felt the last traces of Hei-Yun's separate consciousness smile and fade into her own, leaving behind not an echo or a memory, but a complete person, someone who could walk between worlds and show others the way. The future was waiting, and she was ready to help build it.